Running a Fever, episode 106, Achieving the Goal. Good morning, Fever Nation out there in the RAF. My name is Michael Davis. I have lost over 80 pounds. I've reduced my waist size by 6 sizes, 12 inches. Lowered my blood pressure and lowered my body fat by well over 10%. Lowered my BMI by 10 points. It's been a great year health-wise, and I did this all at the age of 52. Now, one of the things that allowed me to do this was that I love my life, and at some point, and last year I realized that and decided to love my life as much as I can. And because of that, I want to make my life last as long as possible. And that's what I'm doing out here at, probably about 20 to 7 on a Saturday morning in November. And the temperature is about 45 degrees. Fortunately, it's dry. It has been raining several days during this week. But this morning, it's dry. Sky is clear. I can see the stars, and it's cold. It's cold and it's dark, and it's still a beautiful day. Beautiful day here at Lake Fayetteville, somewhere in Arkansas. I'm still not sure if I'm in Springdale or Fayetteville right now, but regardless, beautiful what I can see so far, which is not much. I do have my Cyclops headlamp on so people can see me, and I can see a little bit of the road ahead with the highest brightness set on it. It's a special day. It's a special day because, did you notice the title of the show is Achieving the Goal, and we're going to try to do that today. It took a while. It's almost probably about 6:45 this morning. I get up at 4:45 in the morning, generally because during the week I go to a gym for weightlifting, and they don't open until 5:30 in the morning. And so I get up at 4:45, do all the things I need to do, get my pre-workout stuff done, and then I get there meet my workout partner at 5:30 at the gym. Work out for about 45 minutes, go home, shower, etc., and get to work about 7:30. Today, I didn't get out here until about 6:45 because actually it's more like 6:30. I forget the clock in my car is off by almost 10 minutes. That's what happens. I'm not sure why, but it doesn't sync up with anything, and it's just this relatively new 2013 Honda Civic, but that's all going to end tonight because it's time to switch to daylight savings time, in which we will fall back, so we'll have an extra hour over the next day. You don't really have an extra hour. In fact, the time change doesn't really mean anything. I don't understand in the age of electricity why we still have daylight savings time, but we still do. Invented by, I think, Ben Franklin. It made a lot more sense, I guess, at one point when you had, where country was 90% farmers, and there was no electric lights. But now all of your chicken coops have lights on them. Farm equipment all has lighting. It makes no sense, but still we do it, and it's cost the companies in the United States at least billions of dollars because of everything, all the computerization and everything. But anyway, tangent. tonight, my clock will once again be correct for probably the first time and the only time. So, long story longer, yeah, it took me a long time to get ready today. I wanted to be sure that I was dressed properly. I only go out walking like this every 2 weeks, or sometimes longer. These days, I get other kinds of exercise. I'm doing cardio on a recumbent stationary bike at home for just about between 20 and 30 minutes a day. I do weightlifting every morning, 5 days a week. And then I often do some recreational stuff like hiking on the weekends, which I might be doing today if I wasn't taking this historic walk. So, I want to make sure I was ready. I remember that a couple of weeks ago, I took what I'd calculated to be an 8.5 mile walk. And you know how reliable and accurate my calculations can be. I did walk over 9 miles that day, total. So I don't expect that I'll be, suddenly dropping of exhaustion at the 8 mile point or something like that. I'm pretty confident that I'll be able to do this, and that's why I decided to go ahead and do it today instead of waiting until Sunday, November 18th, which would be the deadline which I had hoped to achieve this goal. I dressed warmly, and I suppose this is a good time for the fashion department to make a fashion department report. It's gotten cold, and I haven't, I've just not really paid attention to it. Might be different if I was going out every day, but so I need warm clothing, especially if I'm going out at early in the morning like this today. It's still getting up to 60s, 70s sometimes during the day, but 40s is getting pretty common for nighttime. A little bit different because on the bottom I have the 2018 compression pants, which are actually, I've lost weight obviously in 2018, so they're not as compressing as they used to be. And then I've just remembered, I put my old compression pants that I was wearing last winter into the big clothes storage that I now have. But, they're compression pants, so they still would probably be tight enough to stay up. And it seemed kind of ridiculous to wear shorts, but I'm wearing shorts for modesty's sake today. But I put the old compression pants over the new compression pants. There's not going to be a whole lot of air in between there, but I do notice a difference in terms of it being a little bit warmer. On top, I've got a compression shirt and my official Running a Fever t-shirt, which as of right now, I have not, I don't think, published a picture of yet. Meant to a couple of times, but hopefully by the time you listen to this, there will be one somewhere. But it's a, wonderful long sleeve t-shirt. At least I got that much. It's not really going to help me today, but it's long sleeve in terms of marketing because I have to have something over it. But long sleeve, orange tie-dyed sunburst kind of design with the Running a Fever logo in black on the front, and in the back in big letters, love your life. So everybody can see it and hopefully practice it. But unfortunately, I need more warmth today, so I've got my old green Red Sox sweatshirt on over it. By the way, sports department. Morning. The Boston Red Sox are now the new reigning world champions of baseball for the 9th time in history. The very first World Series, gosh, I just got to go off on this tangent too. 1903, Boston Red Sox, well, I can't remember who they played, but I don't know who they played. And they went on to win 5 of the first 15 World Series ending in 2018 when they beat the Chicago Cubs at Fenway Park, which is still the home of the Boston Red Sox. They then went on to not win a World Series, although they appeared in several, for the next 83 years, ending in 2004 when they won. I was actually still living in Massachusetts at the time. Won again in 2007, 2013, and this year, 2018. So congratulations to the Red Sox and Red Sox Nation. But yeah, this old green, I used to wear it every single day, this green sweatshirt, and I've got it on today, covering up my Running a Fever uniform. Coming up on the second person I've seen today. First was a runner. The second looks like a bicyclist. A cyclist with a light, which is good. Runner did not have a light on. Morning. That was actually a runner too, just very, steady. That light was just not bouncing at all. So, and finally, I have my actually work gloves. I'm not sure where the knit gloves are. Fashioned by hand by Henrietta Davis, mother and master knitter, who also made my hat, which is a hat. So I got that going for me. Incidentally, I just noticed I was in a sort of a seminar type thing this week. And when in presentations, of course, you have to have pictures to make it a little bit interesting. And apparently today, the symbol for a hacker, computer hacker, is a person seated at a computer wearing a hoodie. So there you go. That's what hoodie means. Evil. So yeah, reminds me of the movie Hot Fuzz. You need to check that out. Evil hood wearing kids in that movie. So I'm dressed rather warmly, and it's working fairly well, although I definitely didn't overdress because my hands are still a little bit cold and I can definitely feel the cold, but it's not painful or anything, so we'll get through it. Should be getting fairly warm because I'm actually at the marina already. Started at the old stomping grounds, as I like to do on these occasions. So, diet report. One of the reasons it took me 2 hours to get out here is because I had a very ample breakfast this morning. I remember when I did the 8.5 mile walk that I wished that I had had a large breakfast that day. And so today, I definitely took advantage of that knowledge, and I had a large breakfast, in which I will summarize as follows. Eggos, 2 waffles with Smart Balance and light syrup, 4 turkey sausage links in quotation marks, because obviously, they're turkey sausage links, 2 eggs with some sharp cheddar cheese, fried, scrambled with Smart Balance, of course, and a toast made from hamburger bun, which is my all-purpose bread that I keep in the freezer. Don't eat bread very much, but that's a good way to do it. It's another beautiful, I'm trying to get a picture of this. It's dark, obviously, but my phone manufacturer says that you can take pictures in the dark. Let's see if that's true, because the sun is just coming up, and so you can see a lot of different colors, some pinks and orange at the horizon, deep blue and purple. It's just amazing. And you can see the moon, and there's a streak of what is probably a jet trail in the sky. You can even see the water. So just gorgeous. It's worthwhile to come out in the morning at a place like this. I can already hear plenty of traffic in this area. We're relatively close to the traffic. Closest thing to fruit juice I have is some diet cran grape, which I had. I have V8, which is very sodium heavy, so I kind of try to stay away from that. So it's kind of like in it. And okay, on the toast, I did have Smart Balance. Of course, it's all over my breakfast, Smart Balance. A third the calories of butter. Mountain Berg honey, which I'm fortunate to have here, living so close to Mountain Berg. Probably can't get it. I might send you some if you contact me by sending a readable message in any language, but readable and making sense enough that I can read it. And you can comment on YouTube or send me a mail at mail@runningatfever.com. Mountain Berg honey, don't forget to include your address so I can ship it to you. So that was good. And then I had some raisins. I didn't have much real fresh fruit around, but I've got raisins. So that's a 1,200 calorie breakfast right there. I should have plenty of energy. I've got carbs, I've got protein, I've got fat, everything I need, hopefully, to make this a long trek today. And of course, hydration. I drank 3 glasses of water in addition to the small amount of cran grape diet ocean spray stuff that I had. I put 3 20-ounce bottles of water in the vehicle. Drank a little bit of that on the way over. Probably do that in between laps. Grab some water. And I also put a dehydrated apple in the car as well, so I can just get some replenishment there in case I need it. I think this is more than enough to get me through this ordeal today, this excursion. Obviously, also going to necessitate a couple of bathroom trips, and fortunately, since I have a year of experience walking this trail, I know where they are. There are bathrooms, so that is good, and I think I will choose probably Veterans Park for that evolution, which is quite an ordeal when you have, this wardrobe combination on like I do today. I left out of the fashion report actually a couple of new additions, which are knee sleeves. I talked about getting knee sleeves, and I wound up getting these. Instead of buying a $60 one from 2XU directly, I went to Amazon and found these for $15, and they've been doing pretty well. It's they give me a little bit of support. It's not like a brace; it's just a sleeve with spandex and such. I think it's designed to be worn next to the skin. As I speak, I'm trying to pull these up a little bit, because if you wear them over tights, they tend to tights are really slippery. But there is rubber on the inside of these sleeves, and that should hold fine against skin. I usually just wear one on my troublesome knee. But today I decided, let's just wear them both. Laundering them is not quite as difficult as I thought it would be. It calls for hand washing, but I just put them in the delicate cycle and let them dry, and they generally do dry. I thought it would take longer to dry because they're a little bit thicker, but they dry in less than a day, certainly. That's all I need. So I can use both of them. Probably won't need them until Monday at the earliest. And one final addition to the fashion report. Of course, I've mentioned before the dance belt guys get one of these, you'll not regret it. And there's more to the fashion report, but since I already started the diet department, let's go back into that. When I return today, we'll have a post-workout supplement that includes creatine. Now, normally if I just went out for some cardio, good morning. If I just went out for some cardio, or sat on my bike, I wouldn't worry about supplements, extra protein, stuff like that, because I'm not really going to need it. But on a 10 plus mile walk, it's a little bit different. That's extensive. It's going to be have more nutritional, energy, etc. requirements. So you don't need to carb load for a 20-minute workout. But I will have a post-workout. Probably won't need protein supplement because I'm planning to have a high protein lunch, because it will be close enough to lunchtime when I'm expecting this to take 4 hours. It may only take 3, but I'm expecting it to take up to 4 hours because I'm counting on a slowdown later in the walk. Pretty good pace right now. Let's see what the wonderful workout watch says. 30 minutes in, and now I gotta do some calculations. So about at the 0 from the 1.5. So yeah, not really a really fast pace here. I would need to have gone 2 miles, and I've probably only gone 1.5, getting close to 2 miles, but so probably better than my 20-minute pace, but not quite to the 15-minute pace. Crossing through Veterans Park, right? So it will be close enough to lunchtime that I probably will not need protein supplement, although if it looks like it's going to be an hour, then I probably will have a 1 scoop shake. If I was finishing this up at 2 p.m., probably have a 2 scoop shake, because I need to have a pretty good protein meal, maybe 30-40 grams within an hour or so of the workout, pre and post. And I have plenty of protein around. I had tried this diet that I found on YouTube, and I've probably already linked that in the show notes. The guy's name is Remington James, and he's got a bodybuilding YouTube channel and all the usual things those guys do, coaching, training, etc. Does the podcast often. Well, I shouldn't say that. Every podcast I've seen of his has the shirt on. These guys tend to be sure you can see their success by podcasting recording with their shirts off. So he does have some of that in his intro, but obviously people don't usually work out without clothing because it doesn't make sense. But I understand why they do that. Remington James has this diet, and YouTube the video was called something like meal prep for an entire week. And, seemed like interesting, so I went out and I got some meal prep containers so you can get at Walmart. And, I made this thing which includes 2 meals a day, which are chicken, rice, and broccoli. Chicken, rice, and broccoli is a really nice meal, especially if you put some soy sauce on it. And you can cook the chicken any way you want, so I did a couple of different spice combinations and grilled it. He baked it. I like it grilled, so I grilled it. And I roasted the broccoli instead of steaming it. I've discovered ways to make healthy food a little tastier by preparing them in slightly unconventional ways, so that's a good meal, but to have it twice a day for an entire week is a little too much. The breakfast was pretty good. 2 servings of oatmeal, and he used traditional oatmeal, not the instant kind that I usually have at work in the morning. some coconut oil, which makes it a little more tasty, almonds, and some cinnamon. That is probably the best thing. And I could actually have the same breakfast every day. I've been doing it for a long time. And then for the other meal of the day, which is normally supper, but I've been having it for lunch occasionally too, because I've got all these meals around, is beef. And I used, morning, he used flank steak, which is, it's kind of tough. It's cheaper and very lean. I used fajita meat, which is already sliced up. And I found out that turkey is at least twice as expensive as chicken. So I could save money by eating ground chicken instead of ground turkey with my tacos, etc. The extra 10 calories might be worth it. But again, gotta have variety in the diet. That's why my diet is flexible, and I went back to that because, for another thing, it's not just, like normally on the cutting diet you'd have, and this was advertised as a cutting diet. It's 2,010 calories the way he prepared it. Normally I'd have 4 ounces of meat. Well, this was basically 2 servings of meat with each of those 3 meals a day. It was 4 meals a day. The oatmeal, 2 chicken meals, and the beef meal. So you're talking about 1.5 pounds of meat, which is quite a lot. So 1.5 pounds of meat a day was a lot. I mean, I felt full. I felt stuffed. This isn't stuff that gets digested easily. It's meat. It's the hardest thing pretty much to digest. So fortunately, it actually works. In terms of, I started seeing, my weight and body fat going down. And, obviously I didn't really want to eat anything else because I was so stuffed. But yeah, I think I already included a link to this. So if you want to try it, go ahead. But it's not a bad plan, except that it can't be the only thing. You got to have some variety in there. And that's why I'm going back to the flexible diet for the time being. And there were some, with the beef, you had sweet potatoes. So, there's some good micro stuff in there. Get your micronutrients from the sweet potatoes. So I'm pulling up my knee sleeves again. And broccoli and a little bit of rice. One guy said at work, said the rice is kind of counterintuitive. Well, it's not really that much rice. It's 100 grams. And you need some carbs. Got to have carbs. People that are just against carbs, I don't know. This is brown rice, which has a better glycemic index. I can't remember if higher or lower is better, but it has a better glycemic index than white rice. Still not bad. Not bad for you. And like I said, it kind of worked for me. And the reason I've been trying different things is I'm just kind of frustrated with the speed at which my body composition is improving. I did get down to 193 one day. That's the lowest I've been so far, and I'm most of the time staying under 200, which indicates progress. And that, kind of getting over that hump kind of started when I did this diet, and I've still got meals because I did the whole week thing. I made 28 meals in one. It took about 2.5 hours to make all this. Rice takes 50 minutes, 20 minutes to roast the broccoli, about the same amount of time to grill the chicken and fry the beef and whatnot. So a couple hours altogether. You do have to do some slicing and cutting and whatnot, especially of the. What I did was grill the chicken and then cut it afterwards. Put my spice because it can't grill little pieces of chicken. So anyway, so if you want to try that, I might put together a plan like that because it is easier, and I do wind up bulk preparing stuff just at different times, because I do my snacks, my dried fruit, And I wind up putting some processed stuff in there too, like a protein bar occasionally, and Greek yogurt for a snack still every now and then, jerky, and raisins, which are really not processed necessarily, but might be something in there except raisins, I don't know. So I'm shooting for about a 22,000 calorie diet. I did have about 2,200 yesterday, and I'm probably going to go over today as well. But considering the fact that I am doing a 10 to 11 miles of walking today, that shouldn't be a problem with the extra calories. So, still trying to lose weight, trying to lower my body fat, and it's proceeding slowly. So, this next piece of information falls within, it'll be a segue into the medical department. So it kind of falls in between diet and medical. I mentioned I'd had a reaction to eating peanuts, and I thought it was peanuts because I had just finished a jar of peanuts, and I probably got some of that dust in the bottom that's, a little salt, a little whatever is on the peanuts. And I found out some information. I did go to my doctor and a little information. It might not be peanuts, obviously. I thought, I didn't know for sure it would be peanuts. Morning. Said it might be the preservative. So you need to look at the ingredients of the package and check that out if you go to an allergist, etc. But I wasn't having any problem I didn't have any problem with peanuts, really, and I didn't have any problem with peanut butter, which I've still been eating. And so, but I decided instead of having the full spectrum allergist thing, I decided to just test for peanuts first. So they did that day. They took blood, and I just got the call yesterday saying that I tested equivocal for peanuts. In other words, it was a very small reaction. The doctor recommended that I still avoid peanuts because of the possibility of increased allergic reaction intensity with repeated exposure. So I take that to mean that, I'm probably going to avoid peanuts. He did say that roasted peanuts have less of the allergen in them, kind of cooked out a little bit, than raw peanuts. But I take that to mean I'll probably finish my current jar of peanut butter. It's natural peanut butter. And switch to the almond butter. Now, the almond butter that I have currently, I didn't buy the pure almond butter, but I got the kind that is in a jar, and it said contains almonds, may contain peanuts. I'm not sure why it says that. Maybe they get their almonds in a big bag that comes from a peanut nut company or whatever, or they grind peanuts and almonds in the same grinder or something. But anyway, if I have such a small reaction, I think I can take trace amounts of peanuts, and I will avoid directly eating peanuts and peanut butter, so that if I accidentally am exposed in the future, I will not be in danger of having another reaction, which could get very dangerous. Swelling in my face and my throat, so it could actually asphyxiate me if it was intense enough. Definitely going to take the doctor's advice and avoid peanut butter. So there you go. Shifting into the medical department proper. I did in the same visit to my primary care physician. Mentioned that I wanted to look into throat constriction in general, which has kind of been a problem when I take pills, especially large ones. I have problems swallowing. I did get referred to an ENT clinic, ear, nose, and throat clinic, and I called yesterday to get an appointment, but they were already closed, so I'm going to call again on Monday and set that up. When you have problems like these, folks, you got to get medical attention for them. I mean, it's worth whatever it costs you. Hopefully have you good insurance. If you don't, try to find a way to get some medical advice on these things. They can be serious. And little things like eating peanuts could really affect you seriously. And I've talked about the, things that like, especially I've had a history of acid reflux, also known as heartburn. And, if you've been overweight, this is more common, I think, under people who are overweight. So I don't have it much anymore. What that can do is it just tears up your esophagus a little bit with the acid, and scar tissue can develop, and that can constrict your throat. The other thing I asked about was my CPAP machine, which I've been using for a really long time. I found out 6 years. I'd actually forgotten when I got that machine. 6 years, and you got a hose, and as you toss and turn and get in and out of bed, the hose is connected to the machine, and so the machine will often take a tumble, and it took one too many tumbles off the nightstand onto the floor, and it's broke. So old enough that it qualifies for insurance replacement and stuff. So I got a referral to that. My primary care, I didn't have to go back to the pulmonologist, but the primary care physician was able to write the necessary orders to get me a new one, and I went in there yesterday. And a lot of things have changed in 6 years. No longer there's no more memory card that you use to gather information. It's just sent over a modem every day, sent to the interwebs, and collected by somebody, and I can actually go online and look at it, which I couldn't do before unless I had a $100 piece of software. That's progress. There's also a different kind of mask that I'm going to try that doesn't even go into my nose, which had caused soreness earlier, with the one I'd been using up till now. It's a different kind of mask that has a hose coming out the top and all kinds of things like that. So I got all that new stuff. Also, I mentioned to the doctor that, obviously I've lost a lot of weight and my neck is smaller. It doesn't have as much fat. So the fat around your neck can cause breathing obstruction and cause sleep apnea. And that's why there's a correlation between neck size and, tendency towards sleep apnea. It's not the only way, that's not the only problem that can exist. So it's not 100% that. However, he said that there's a test that you can take, and basically, now when you go to the doctor, you get your usual vitals, and they put this thing on your finger to test your pulse and oxygen level, and that's basically what it is. You wear this. There's a little wristwatch device. It has a USB cable that goes to one of those finger things, and you wear that all night. You get the information, they tell you what your oxygen level was for the night. Wear it without the CPAP. Now, the CPAP machines also count the number of incidents. Now, an incidence or event is basically when I stop breathing. So 10 times a night is good. Lower than that, lower than 5 is even better. And I asked the therapist at the CPAP store, it's a medical supply company that specializes in oxygen and stuff like that. There are multiple of these everywhere. Believe it or not, this problem is so widespread. I asked her because it comes out on that report, right, which I'm not able to see. And they downloaded the information from my old card, and I'd had less than one event average per week. It was 0.9 or 0.1 or point something, right? So I'm like, okay, that's a pretty good sign. If people with wearing CPAP machines can have up to 10, and I've got less than 1, then that looks pretty favorable. So they gave me the machine to test my pulse ox, what they call it, overnight. And the doctor said if it's over 90%, then probably pretty good. The therapist said If that looks good, you may want to have another sleep study. And a sleep study would obviously have someone monitoring you and actually seeing when you have these convulsions, when you stop breathing, basically. Now, I suspect that I might still have sleep apnea even now, because sometimes when I wake up, one of the symptoms I have is that my neck muscles are tense and sore, which is what happens, obviously, when you stop breathing. Even if you don't wake up, you're still having that physical reaction, and your muscles tense up and everything. So I may still have it, but it's good to have the test anyway, right? Just to see. I did that last night, so I might not have had as much sleep as I should have before a day like today, but I did do that test, so hopefully I'll get some good information out of that, because I obviously was not wearing the CPAP mask last night. Gonna take the advice of my doctor regardless, because, good morning, it's like the fourth person I've seen today. Starting to hear the traffic of Highway 265 as I approach the Botanical Gardens. Gotta take my medical advice, because I love my life and I love it enough that I want to make it last as long as possible. I mean, I want to keep doing this thing because it's good. It's so much good that I can do in my lifetime. Hopefully I'm doing good right now. Catch the fever if you don't have it, keep it if you got it, and we'll talk to you next time on Running the Fever.
This is the Padua Podcast Network. PaduaMedia.com.